In part one of our series on the Black Atlantic, we're asking the question, what is the Black Atlantic? We'll be looking at the work of Turner, Ingrid Pollard, Isaac Julien, and Yinka Shonibare.
Liberation, trail, the sea, freedom, collective memory. Black Atlantic is a phrase coined by Paul Gilroy. Paul Gilroy wrote a book inviting us to think about the legacy of slavery. The Black Atlantic is an idea, but we can also think about the Black Atlantic as a tool, as a map, as a way of seeing. It allows us to navigate our past and orient ourselves in the present as a way to look towards the future. Let's imagine the ocean. Let's imagine the routes that slave ships took from Europe to Africa, to the Americas, to the Caribbean. Gilroy postulates that these routes across the Atlantic are in a way inscribed into the ocean and into the lives of African diasporic people today. Let's imagine that as points on a map that together make up a shared history, a shared culture, a shared identity, but also a route towards possibility, reinvention, towards saying, this is how I position myself on the map of history. You don't have to be black to engage with the idea of the Black Atlantic. I think at its heart, the concept is really an invitation towards empathy, to say, let's think about how the modern Western world is constructed. It's constructed in part through the forced migration of black people, but the legacy of that is a shared multicultural society that we all live in. If we respect and honour the idea of a world which we all have a shared stake in, whatever our colour, then the Black Atlantic is one of the routes towards understanding that. If you're an artist that speaks of culture, identity, experience, imagining, history, collective memory, shared past, then you're talking about the Black Atlantic. The British Library is an installation by Yinka Shonibare of 6,328 books wrapped in this Dutch wax batik fabric, inscribed with the names of different figures. Many of them have contributed to culture, some of them are very resistant to the idea of foreigners. The whole installation is a conversation about how Britain has gone back and forth, arguing about the role that immigrants and people of colour have played in the identity of Britain since the arrival of the Windrush. When you stand within the British Library, what you recognise is that this is a space without hierarchy. There's no one book that's more important than another. I think Yinka Shonibare is proposing what Britain can be, a place of togetherness, a place of beautiful patterns that are made across time through shared histories. Turner's slave ship is based in part on the real story of a ship called the Zong coming from Africa to the Caribbean. The captain of the Zong threw overboard living African people who'd been enslaved and were on the ship, and then afterwards tried to claim the money back from insurance. Turner paints a hellscape, red skies, ferocious fish, limbs still with manacles and chains attached to them. It's a painting of deep compassion that invites to think about the physical and moral cost of slavery. This painting asks, can you create a work of art that is sublime and terrifying and sobering and heartbreaking at the same time? Ingrid Pollard's Oceans Apart is a very simple set of photographs in an English seaside. Beneath each photograph is a piece of text. Some of them written by her father, bidding farewell to her, to Britain. Ingrid Pollard is thinking about identity as a dual thing. What does it feel like to be black and British? What does it feel like to be an inheritor of a legacy of immigration, but also to be born into a country which has been at different times both open to that immigration and hostile to it?
Then, for the first time, he asked himself who he was.
Paradise from Eros, by Isaac Julien, begins with a young black man walking into the sea. Apparently for a moment drowning, in the way that so many millions of black people did drown and die in the Atlantic Ocean. But this figure emerges in a grim, concrete London.
Yon, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, dix.
It's a dazzling film. It's a 3-screen work. It's about possibility. It's about cosmopolitanism. It's about complexity. It's about what happens when the other, the sometimes alien, becomes present, becomes resident. Horror doesn't follow, beauty does.
In this episode, we've asked, what is the Black Atlantic? In part 2, we'll be considering questions of identity and nationhood.